Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Team Rise or Fall to talk a little Thursday night football action. The undefeated Philadelphia Eagles go to Houston to take on the Texans, who are 1-5-1. On paper, looks like a big time blowout. Point spreads, I believe Houston's getting like 13.5 points. Just spot them 2 touchdowns and we'll move on. Over under 45.5 points. Before I get into my favorite plays and some weird ideas, right? We're going to have to get strange in this one because everybody on earth is going to be stacking the Eagles, rightfully so, but do you want a piece of the pie or do you want the whole damn thing, as I always say? Before we dig into the actual article, make sure you go to the website at Team Rise or Fall. When you get there, use my promo code. It is promo code Beastie, so it's not mine, it's my flipping cat's who's laying on the couch sleeping somewhere. When you get there, you type that in and you get access to everything. It is a VIP, very important person membership, and you get access to the study hub, all the tabs that they keep adding. The Discord right now, the Rise or Fall Discord, is 100% free, but like any good site, there are some premium options, including all of the coaches, including me. Every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, folks aren't me, but other coaches and such are in there talking leading up to lock for NBA, for hockey, and for football. So make sure you go there and we'll meet on the flip side. When you do, tag me. Say, hey, Chris, I'm in. What do I do now? How can you help me? I'm always available for you or anybody else if you need help. Let's dig into this football game, shall we? As I said, Philadelphia is at Houston tonight. When we look at this one, as I said moments ago in the opening, on paper, this one is going to be Philadelphia 75, Houston like 10, right? But I want to, let's hold our horses. Let's pull in the reins a little bit because I do have Philadelphia winning. I'm not trying to be, special or whacked out just for views and likes and stuff. Philadelphia is going to win this game, but I do think it's going to be closer for a time than we think here. And ultimately, Philadelphia wins this one, as I said, like 17 times already. But let's talk about the players, shall we? Let's start with Jalen Hurts, and I'm just going to grab my old trusty notes per usual instead of making a video and trying to talk to you from the side like that. That's rude, but hey, here we are. When we look at Jalen Hurts, what more do you want from Jalen Hurts so far? This guy has been unbelievably good. Jalen Hurts, 17.5 on FanDuel, 11.8 on DK, and $36 on Yahoo. Get this though, Houston, third overall against opposing quarterbacks, but have we reached a point in the season where, I mention it all the times, we talk about matchup-proof guys, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, some running backs, and a few wide receivers. Has Jalen Hurts entered that upper echelon of matchup-proof quarterbacks? Maybe to you, you're like, well, it's the Eagles, I like them, I hate them, whatever it is. Jalen Hurts is a matchup-proof quarterback at this moment in time, like it or not, and granted, this is DFS, we're talking about Thursday Night Football. I don't care what he does in Week 10. I'm focused on right now. I have Jalen Hurts, 20 completions, 260 passing yards. We're looking at 9 or 10 carries for another 50 yards, and I think 2 touchdowns tonight for Hurts is his floor. 1 passing, 1 on the ground, 2 and 2, whatever way you slice it up. So to me, Jalen Hurts is a must-have, but again, I hate using this term in DFS. Jalen Hurts is a free square. Everybody on earth is going to kind of, not shoehorn him, they're going to pluck Jalen Hurts in, and that's all well and good. Let's talk about Davis Mills. Philadelphia, very good. They're second overall against opposing quarterbacks. And when you look at Davis Mills, $14,000 on FanDuel, $9,000 on DK, and an even $20 on Yahoo. When we look at Mills, I've had faith in this kid, and he's done nothing, not much so far this season. Realistically, he's just a guy. He's a jag, as people call him. He's there. Second year, we thought he was going to break out. He was cheap in all formats, dynasty, redraft, however you want to do it. And when you look at him tonight, 24 completions, 220 yards. We're looking at 2 to 3 carries for another 10 yards and a touchdown, right? Davis Mills, his floor, again, is about 1 touchdown. 2 in the air, 1 on whatever way you slice it. But to me, Davis Mills is good for at least 1 touchdown. But my final score at the end of this thing is going to be shocking. So maybe Davis Mills is accountable for 2 touchdowns. 3, that's shocking, right? I said Michael Myers I don't know who's gonna come through the door now if I say Davis Mills is good for 3 touchdowns. But hey, let's move on to the running backs. And Miles Sanders has been a breath of fresh air, right? Him and Josh Jacobs, that combo. I tweeted that out last week sometime. When you look at Miles Sanders, finally, this new coaching regime finally knows what they have in Sanders, and they're using him as such. And get this, Houston dead last against opposing in DFS formats against opposing running backs. Miles Sanders should have himself one heck of a game. $13,000 on FanDuel, $10.4 on DK, and $24 on Yahoo. I think Sanders is good for 14, 15 carries, 80 yards. We're looking at a couple receptions because, again, as we go down, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, they're in the mix for targets, receptions here. But Miles Sanders, you love a good ground and pound game. And Sanders, as I said, 1 or 2 receptions, about 10 yards, and Sanders will find the end zone on the ground. That's all I got to say about Sanders. You're getting what you pay for from him, and he's going to be in 99.9% of my lineups. As we go down, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, which way are we going to, Chris, which way are we going to go? I would prefer Boston Scott. Call me crazy, but to be honest with you, all 3 running backs are in play given the unbelievably good or awful, however you want to put it, DVP. As I said, Houston dead last, 32nd overall against opposing running backs. Kenny Gainwell, $8,000 on FanDuel, $5,000 on DK. Boston Scott, though, $7,500 on FanDuel, only $1,800 on Yahoo, and a measly $10 on, or DK's $1,800, a measly $10. I had a good line and I flubbed it. Boston Scott, $10 on Yahoo. When you look at Scott, looking at 5 or 6 carries, 2 to 3 receptions, so we're going to get, I'm thinking, fingers crossed, 35, anywhere between 35 to 40 all-purpose yards. So to me, Boston Scott very much in play as kind of a, not a dart throw, just put him in. It's massive salary relief on DK. When we go to the Houston Texans running backs, it's all about Dameon Pierce, Rex Burkhead, Dare Ogobowale, however you want to put it. Dameon Pierce is the only game in town, at least for the Texans, and you're going to have to pay up for him, right? When you look at Dameon Pierce, $15,000 on FanDuel, $8,600 on DK, and $22 on Yahoo. Philadelphia, they're coming into their own. They're 7-0, looking to go 8-0 here. But to me, right now, Philadelphia, 19th overall against opposing running backs, and volume is king, right? And the opportunity and volume is king when we play fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy sports. And Dameon Pierce is going to be fed the football, even if they're down 75-0. Pierce is still going to be active because, again, I think Houston's coming into this one. Football coaches, head football coaches will never talk this way, but that's why it's nice to have videos like this or wherever else you get your content here. I can speak open and freely. And do you think, and wait, let me know in the comments when you share this video, whatever you want to do, send me a DM. Do you realistically think Houston and the head coach are going into this game going, yep, we're going to wail on Philadelphia, or at least we're going to beat Philadelphia? But you can't have that attitude in a locker room or you've already lost. But to me, Dameon Pierce, come rain, shine, sleet, snow, 75-0, Dameon Pierce is going to get his targets and touches. I'm thinking 18 to 19 carries for Pierce, looking at about 80 to 85 yards, 4 receptions. I think that's pretty sweet, especially on a site like DK that's point per reception here, and another 30 yards for Pierce in the air and a touchdown. So to me, you're looking at over 100 all-purpose yards from Pierce. You're looking at a touchdown. So to me, Pierce has to be in our lineups. We're going to have to mix and match around, because if we start our lines with Hurts, Sanders, and Boston Scott, we're going to be stuck with like what OJ Howard and Chris Moore, as well in our lineup. So that's what I have for the running backs. Let's talk about the wide receivers. We'll move this thing along. We'll get the heck out of here. Final score, some betting trends, and we'll split. When we look at the wide receivers, AJ Brown, what more? Again, this game here, I'm trying to make this thing interesting because realistically, I don't know how many people are going to watch this video, and I don't know how many people are going to actually tune into the Amazon Prime broadcast, because this game it's already over, right? In my mind, at least, as a realistic thinking human being here. But AJ Brown, $14,500 on FanDuel, $11,200 on DK, and $27 on Yahoo. We're looking at like 10 targets, 7-8 receptions, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. One thing that I found pretty sweet that I kind of logged in my notes for the wide receivers is their average per reception. Right now, AJ Brown is averaging 16.9 yards a reception here. So you're looking at 7 targets. You do the math. Boom, here we are. Flick my notes and we'll move on. By the way, Houston, respectable. They're 6th overall against opposing wide receivers. Again, AJ Brown is a monster. He doesn't, that kind of stuff doesn't apply to AJ Brown. As we go down, Devonta Smith, he warrants our attention as well. $12,000 on FanDuel, $8,200 on DK, and $18 on Yahoo. 7 targets, 5 receptions, and 60 yards for the young kid as well. Devonta Smith, as of right now, 11.1 yards a reception. That's a reception. That's a touchdown. I got it. You don't have to explain to me. As we move on, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal. I think, one of these two dudes is going to surprise us. Quez, Zach Pascal. We know Quez is unbelievably quick, but to me, it's going to be the old okey doke, right? everyone's going to stack A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, which we'll get to momentarily, Pierce, Miles Sanders. But what about the likes of Zach Pascal or Quez Watkins, just in a not a desperation, but a salary relief kind of move if we're playing in 50-50s or double ups where Hurts and Pierce and Miles Sanders are going to be so valuable here? Make a lineup with Pascal, make a lineup with Quez Watkins, and we'll see what we get. When we go to the Houston side of things, not too much going on. Nico Collins, go blue. He is out and inactive for this one. And when you look at Brandon Cooks, 11.5 on FanDuel, 7.2 on DK, and he's $16 on Yahoo. Brandon Cooks, I don't know if you saw this. It was kind of cryptic in a way. What everybody says, what's said in the dark will come to light. And I don't know what he was getting at, but is he upset? Is he pissed that he wasn't traded? Because his name was thrown around all day, all week so far, and he wasn't moved. So how much is his head going to be in this game, playing an undefeated Philly team that should steamroll them, and he's not traded, and he's got a questionable tag. So how much of an effort do we get out of Brandon Cooks tonight? Again, you'll never hear him say that. You'll never see the coaches and other players say that, but to me, Brandon Cooks might be a landmine today. We might not want to use Cooks just for that simple fact. Just a little idea. What I say is not set in stone. I'm not the end-all be-all, but Brandon Cooks, looking at 8 targets, 6 receptions, 65 to 70 yards here. That is your move to make, and we will move on. Philip Dorsett, Chris Moore, where are we going there? I actually mentioned Philip Dorsett the second on the Rise or Fall Sunday morning show, and he didn't do much, 2-3 receptions, but maybe I was just a week early on Philip Dorsett. And as we settle in here, Dorsett $9,000 on FanDuel, $4,000 on DK, $10 on Yahoo. I'm thinking Philip Dorsett sees 5 or 6 targets. Call me crazy, call me nuts, but this is the kind of move that we need to make on a slate like this, on a single game like this, where everybody, the sharps and all the money are on Philadelphia, and we can not catch folks sleeping, but we can realistically, get 8 to 10 points from Philip Dorsett, and maybe those points right there, maybe it'll be a difference of 2.5, maybe 3. That's a ton of points in a DFS, in a GPP lineup, and a cash line, and $1 million, $10,000, whatever you want to do it. But to me, Philip Dorsett is going to be in a large portion of my lineups today, just for that simple fact. And I'm going to mix and match with Chris Moore. I'm nuts. I already know that. Tell me something I don't know. As we get to the tight ends, there's not much to say. Dallas Goedert is when you look at all the tight ends, and right now Houston has 3, very, very, capable tight ends here, but Goddard, $11,000 on FanDuel, 6.6 on DK, $20 on Yahoo here. I'm thinking Goddard, 7-8 targets, 5 receptions, 55 to 60 yards. The rub here, will he find the end zone? Won't he? Given my final score, he's got a good chance to find the end zone, and Dallas averaging 13.2 yards a reception in this one. The price tag is a little high, but when we look at, he needs to score a touchdown, right? FanDuel, touchdown or bust with Dallas Goedert. As we go down the list, Brevin Jordan, Jordan Atkins, O.J. Howard. I'm just going to go like a lightning round here. Brevin Jordan, 4 targets, 2 receptions, 25 yards. Jordan Atkins, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 15 to 20 yards. And O.J. Howard, 2 to 3 targets, 2 receptions, another 20 yards. All 3 guys are realistically, they're okay priced. Jordan, 6.5 on FanDuel. Atkins, $7,000 on FanDuel. And O.J. Howard, $6,000 on FD. And Jordan, $1,000 on DK. Jordan Atkins, only $800 on DK. And O.J. Howard, $1,600 on DraftKings. The 2 I would choose if we had to do that, and I have it in my notes here. It's just when I'm doing my notes, I just log everything the weird feelings, and when I'm looking around, and I could make a case for starting 2 of these 3 tight ends in the same lineup. Which 2? Jordan Atkins and Jordan Howard, only based on the fact Brevin Jordan averages like 5 yards a reception, and he's only going to get like 2 of them. No, thank you. But when we look at Atkins and O.J. Howard, Atkins, 14.5 yards a reception, O.J. Howard, 13.7 yards a reception. So if they get 2 or 3 of them, that adds up 20 yards. That's 2 points, the reception. So realistically, you could see 5 or 6 points a piece on a website like DraftKings Kickers. To be fair, I'm all in on Jake Elliott tonight. Houston, 27th against kickers, and Jake Elliott, 9.5 on FanDuel, 4-8 on DK. And when we look at him, 3 for 3 extra points, maybe 4 for 4, we shall see. And he'll be 2 for 2, 1 for, however, he's going to be perfect across the board tonight. When we look at the defenses, there's no secret here. The Eagles, that's the play here. But again, everybody and their mother knows about that. So if we're going to pivot to the Texans, we have to hope that Jalen Hurts makes a mistake. And right now he is rolling. So are the Philadelphia Eagles. So a few betting trends, and we'll get the heck out of here. Philadelphia, 1-4 against the spread, their last 5 on the road. The under is 4-1, Philadelphia's last 5 on the road, and the under 10-4 for Houston's last 14 games versus a team with a winning record. So to me, we have to look for the perfect Philadelphia combo. When I say combo, I mean 1 and 2, whether it's Hurts and Brown, Hurts and Miles Sanders and A.J. Brown, and then we run with the rest of Houston. And again, that's for massive GPPs, 150,000 entries here, but that's the way I'm leaning. That's what it's looking like, and I have Philadelphia to win this one, 31-21. So Philadelphia wins, but I do think Houston covers the 13.5 points. So I will see you again soon. Let's get together the same time for Sunday Night Football. Until then, be good, be safe. Talk to you soon. Bye.